thank you very much for joining us for the Axe and Scalpel podcast. Triumphant return for a few of us back to the microphones. We have a addition that we're really looking forward to introduce you to today. My name is Johnny V. I've dabbled in radio off and on for a few years. I'm joined in studio with Dr. Jacob Smith, Dr. Rick Rapp, and the special guest. I'll introduce your father, Mr. Tom Rapp.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
Coming all the way from South Texas.
Yeah, Central Texas, near Austin.
They got good football over there.
Yeah, they do.
You call Dallas good? Oh, you're talking high school. Okay, yeah. College, yeah. Okay.
Friday Night Lights, right? But speaking of football, if you guys wanted to know, well, actually, I'm just going to tell you anyways because it doesn't matter. I went to the draft in Green Bay.
Oh, yeah, we
did.
heard about that.
I went to that dang draft in Green Bay.
You didn't brag about that.
You were Mr. Irrelevant?
Yeah.
You got picked as Mr. Irrelevant?
I was going to be that. Shedeur Sanders took the title right away from me.
man.
I don't know if you
Too
followed.
soon, man.
So you're saying you were drafted higher than anticipated, and he was...
Well, I was about to be, but then he hired an agent that was just a little bit better than mine, I think.
yeah.
I think that's what ended up happening. But I don't know if you heard anything about it, but from a person that was there, Green Bay, top notch.
Yeah, really?
Few things that stuck out. They had over almost 400,000 people the first couple days. I don't know how Saturday ended up going out attendance-wise, but no traffic. Can you explain that one to me? You guys ever been to Lambeau Field on a football Sunday or anything?
Yeah.
Now, maybe people were trickling in differently, but we prepared ourselves for traffic. None. So kudos to however they decided to do that. Really, the only bummer was
delayed release cheese curds over the days preceding.
There's a lot of days release stuff going on at that place, I'll tell you that.
or maybe they were slightly inflating their numbers like our favorite president tends to do.
Well, I don't know if the president does that, but I do know that prices were definitely inflated in Green Bay, and I don't know. Could you blame them in an odd way? Because if you think about it, if they're going to go to a different stadium every year, this thing's not going to be back in Green Bay for 30 years.
Yeah.
You got to kind of take advantage of that revenue opportunity, right?
Yeah, I mean, and you think, gosh, I mean, all of Wisconsin, Minnesota folks, Chicago folks even would come up for it. Yeah.
It was
even maybe some Michiganders.
Oh, a lot of Detroit Lions jerseys. I mean, the mighty Midwest was really represented when it came to jerseys. I mean, obviously, you already know there's green and gold. The Vikings fans outnumbered the Bears outnumbered the Lions. And then you had pretty much
a lot of
somebody from everywhere else. Parking, $100. Wow. If you weren't paying attention, you had to pay $100.
Yeah.
If you paid attention, you found a residential street, you parked and hoped people didn't tell you to move, and then you were fine. Now, they did have shuttle buses, so if people were going to partake in some adult beverages, they did make it very easy for people not have to drive.
There you go.
They did a fantastic job there.
Wisconsin knows how to handle their...
they know how to party.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You found out who the true partiers were, too, though. For $21 a pop. Ooh. Not for a pop either. I'm talking for a beer.
Yeah.
$21.
Paper cup, or did you at least get plastic?
Oh, geez. No. You know, I almost wanted them to pour it in a glass and put an umbrella or something in it to make it look a little bit. But being that was an ESPN-sponsored NFL event, guess one thing you did? We're in Wisconsin. Guess what beer I didn't see for 2.5 days?
Of course.
No Miller products.
No Miller.
Products,
NFL sponsored by... Budweiser.
Cool. Budweiser.
I was stuck drinking Busch Lattes, as they call them.
Yeah.
And aside from that, if you wanted a nice slice of
Based
pizza,
on the pictures, it didn't seem to create much devastation for you.
Well, people don't need to know that all those cans were empty. I held on to it for like a souvenir as a photo prop, as you could say.
Yeah.
But food was good. What the guys I went to, they did this in Kansas City and Detroit.
Yeah.
And they said that when it came to the food vendors, transportation, as of right now, Green Bay is A++. Now, you're going to hear some complaints and stuff like that probably, but the amount of people that they're able to squeeze in made for the best experience that I could have technically gotten. The event was full capacity on Thursday after they got by the big drafts. You couldn't get in there.
Yeah.
So were you there for round one? Like,
I was there for round
were
one.
you like on the floor? Like we probably saw you on TV, just passed you over.
Couldn't get there.
Oh, really?
It was too full.
So where were you?
They opened up Lambeau Field.
So I
Yes.
saw the overhead
I
of that.
never have had a chance to be inside that stadium. I've been on the outside.
Yeah.
Once I got to the inside, I was so happy. I was with a diehard Viking fan because he was so upset of all the Lombardi trophy. I mean, it's the Lombardi trophy, whether you
were
won one
watching
or two.
You were watching on the big screen in Lambeau
Yep,
Field?
we got to sit in the bleachers. Your field's already looking absolutely immaculate, looking like perfect football weather. And the overflow, I bet there was about 25,000 people at that stadium still.
Really?
Yeah.
After the overflow. And that was perfect. We got to sit down.
Yeah.
You weren't crammed in next to each other. We tried that the next day. And I don't know about you guys. I don't know how big you are into football. But tell me what maybe you guys would have done. It's day 2. Most of the people, if you have heard of them, have already been drafted in college football.
Yeah.
But the place is still packed like it's the first night.
Yeah.
You can move. You can get close to the front as far as you think you can. But if you're not really moving and you're standing there and you're just watching big jumbotrons, how long do you think you could probably just stand there and still truly just be enamored with the whole situation that you're watching?
I don't know that I would make it that long.
Nowhere to sit, people all around you. Yeah.
Windy, blustery, and cold, mind you.
How many Busch Lattes?
That day,
What's the
2.
allotment? What's the
2.
allotment you're given?
A lousy 2. I don't
2?
think that's enough to warm you up even.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's
Something tells me people were finding access to additional liquid enhancement.
I'm so happy you brought that up. We were looking.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't want to take it. Hey, I love football too, but I think some of that stuff gets a little bit too nerdy.
Yeah.
Like I saw the same back of the same people's heads. I bet
Yeah.
for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
Because once you get to a point to where you can't move any forward, you're either going to be making friends with the people around you.
What was
You're sitting there.
What was enjoyable about that second day then for you?
Well, the crowds at first was fantastic. You got used to. You're like, oh my goodness, there is. You could walk around, but once you get to a point to where, what do they say? It's almost like bottlenecks.
Yeah.
Say bottlenecks. We were, say, 5 feet deep from being to the front to touch the railing.
Yeah.
That's a feat. If you can technically do it, that's a feat.
Yeah.
Now with the guys I was with, I had to ask them because I wanted to go. I had to use the restroom. Let's just say we've been sitting there for about
That was gonna
5
be my
hours.
next question. What
like
do you do
5
there?
some hours.
Yeah,
5
because if
some
you
hours.
leave your spot,
You ain't getting it back.
you could have asked. I have access to catheters.
See, I should have been resourceful.
Urine bags, all sorts of things. We could have hooked you up.
So the one guy that we're with, he is kind of adamant about the whole railing thing. I said, well, okay, this is tradition, then fine, we'll wait it out. We waited it out. It's not happening. I finally said, how about this? What are the chances? There's like 5 people. Hey, we're 3 guys. We have a tradition. We touch a railing. We take a picture of our hands. We're out. We won't be sticking around. Do you think that would have made some people say, oh, yeah, go right ahead?
Yeah, probably not.
No.
Yeah.
I was absolutely shocked. It was like, we're not fraudsters. You can see the line that we're going to be imposing on, and then you'll watch us walk that direct line. Push us if you need to. But watching the same people watch the same thing for about 5 hours, I'm starting to almost get like, okay, God, I don't want to think bad about these people. But it's starting to get kind of ridiculous. Like, how many times do you possibly have to be on TV? Or if you're still waiting for that opportunity, but how can you literally just sit there? And like you said, I'm looking. I'm not seeing people smuggling in little shot bottles of this or that because they did have good security there. I will say that. You couldn't really mess around.
I would have told you no too, John.
Yeah.
You're a shady looking character, and I can only imagine the type of ingrates you showed up there with. So.
Yeah, I'd have to say so. Like this is a thing that is just interesting. So for me, the fascination on the draft is, a little bit of the teams that I'm interested in. What are they doing? But I like hearing the stories. What's it like to hear this? Do they play the stories for the guys like up on the screen, or is it just like you're watching Mel Kiper on the jumbotron?
I'm
too
happy that you asked that because that's the thing. When you're there, completely different. You can tell when they're doing all the TV stuff. They have a house band. After a guy gets drafted or whatever, a house band will play about 2-3 songs, while TV they either went to commercial or now they're talking about the guy that just got drafted, showing his highlight clips. When you're there, that's one thing I really kind of thought. I thought on the big Jumbotron when Tom Rapp gets drafted, they're going to show him doing all his fancy highlights and everything like that. No.
How many people were then just like on their phones watching the coverage of that then?
Not too many people either. With the band and the other stuff they have on the Jumbotron, there's enough to kind of keep you at least. The band was good. And they had to be because they were the same band for 2 days.
Oh, yeah.
So I bet they played at least about 200 some songs. I mean, the thing goes for a long, long time.
So you just kind of see the name get read and the guy come out if he's there, get his jersey, hug Goodell, and that's about what you see. You don't see the whole spectacle that we're seeing on television.
No, it's completely like that's one thing that I was surprised about. Yeah. Completely different. So when I say that you can get not bored, but after a while, it's the same thing over and over and over. When you're there, the thing will chime. Ding, ding, ding. On TV, the Bills pick is in. So then you wait. When you're there, the Bills pick has come in. So has Cincinnati's, Houston's, and Pittsburgh's.
Yeah,
you're like,
got it.
Okay. Well, that's how TV does. They break that down, so then they have their own segments. So there's dead time where that band can be playing for like 10, 15 minutes sometimes.
So then what you see on TV where there's this countdown, the pick is in, and it rolls and rolls and rolls, that's not necessarily how it's even going. They're doing that for TV production.
They're having somebody tell somebody, now you go.
The next teams have already, they knew what they were going to do, this, and this. Okay. It's already done.
And the reaction now, what did you guys think of the kid that the Packers drafted, breaking that streak of wide receivers not being drafted in the first round for, over 20-some years?
Well, it's worked out so well for them.
What do you think?
I liked it, actually, because it was exciting. You know, even though I'm not a Packers guy, I live in, of course, Wisconsin. I'm a Vikings guy. But, why did you laugh? Mean.
I was just mimicking all the people that were there.
That's
the universal response.
Feels the pain.
But it was a good. I thought got the crowd pumped up. You know, the kid kind of played it off well. He came out there and handled it well, I thought, and it was an exciting moment for football. So I thought it was pretty cool. Now, will that translate on the field? The guy's not like the prototypical 6'5" receiver. That he's not Kelvin Johnson, but he's supposed to be a good player. So
fast. It's really fast. Yeah. But you talk to some of those diehard cheeseheads. I mean, there's a few people you thought, is this guy going to go home and slit his wrists or something? Because he's like, the guy's not even 5'11".
Well, that's what I mean. He's not the prototypical receiver, but there's other guys that are really
calm down a little
bit. Let's talk about Wes Welker and Julian Edelman.
Exactly.
And this whole thing. Who's the kid from St. Louis now? That's the Rams.
The
Rams.
St. Louis Rams, Rick.
Sorry, I'm
1998
sorry.
called Rick.
The Los Angeles Rams.
The Raiders. They're the Raiders now, aren't they? No, there's the
LA
Rams.
The LA Rams.
That's right. Yeah. There's the LA Rams.
Now the Raiders are in Vegas now. Even I know that.
That's right.
No, but there's another small receiver. It's become a thing. The slot receiver.
We're not talking old man Cooper Kupp, are we?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Like he's old, but he's been around. Yeah, he's fantastic. You don't got to worry about him.
So
and the only thing I'll leave you on this: the Bears still suck.
Yeah.
That slogan will be embedded in my brain. I bet I heard that thing about 400 times.
Yeah.
The Bears had a bunch of draft picks, I guess, in this draft.
Yeah.
So it would seem like every 5 minutes, if they mention even Chicago's on the clock, boom, it starts right there. It got to a point where
the whole song.
They have a whole song on that. I thought it was just a saying.
No, I thought there was a song about.
Well, maybe it's like the what's that? What's the chicken song that's over and over? Surfing Bird.
Oh yeah.
Maybe it's got the same lyrics like the Surfing Bird. Idea. It's just the Bears still.
So we got to hit on though the biggest talk of the draft. You were there. For us who were watching it on TV, we had to watch Shedeur Sanders checking his cell phone.
Doing the Aaron Rodgers fall.
Yeah, and we had to watch him check his cell phone every 90 seconds on ESPN's coverage. So was there any discussion of that there? What was it? Was that even a thing in person?
Well, that's why. Did you guys? So you guys did watch it on TV a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, let me know if this is true. ESPN got criticized for how they kept going to Shedeur Sanders, I guess, And when guys that were drafted, instead of giving them their due time, it's their biggest day of their lives too. They'd kind of disconcern themselves with them and then go to the self-made draft party room that Shedeur Sanders created for himself, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it was legendary or whatever, I guess was the whole thing.
That's why I asked, because that's what it was. ESPN's coverage was nothing. It was all about him. And I bet you a lot of people there's probably a lot of people like me who didn't mind the guy at the beginning of the night, and then by the end of the night, you're so sick of him.
I'm glad nobody's drafting
him. They show his house. He's got, like you said, he's got legendary written on the wall, and he's got all the hats, and there was no humility to it at all. And then so it wasn't. I didn't feel bad for him as it went on. I'm kind of a Coach Prime guy. I was really excited when he came to Colorado. Right.
Yeah.
Grew up in the '90s, so Dion was like the man, and to see him have some college coaching success and his kids do well, I was kind of on that train. But the kid, to me, just doesn't show any humility at all. And,
he's
prime time without enough of the prime.
Well, the good thing is you can tell that Prime was his dad, but his dad always backed stuff up, as far as you could tell. I mean, if you wanted a Super Bowl, he'd say, "Pick me." Okay, we'll pick you, and then you'd end up winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, he was
went
pretty
and played
good.
in the World Series the day later, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's some great footage.
I have a question. So for Dad, so like this, we all have kind of come in this world of ESPN and draft. Was the draft anything pre-cable TV? Did you pay attention? Did sports fans care? Like,
I never really got into it that much, because I don't think it was as obvious in front of everybody.
You like just kind of trust your team is going to pick guys that it needs.
Yeah.
And
my team was the Broncos always. I wondered who they'd get. That was about as much involvement as I had.
Well, because that 1983, the Dan Marino, John Elway, that whole thing, was there much going on then? Like, was that a big deal locally? I mean, I was alive, but I was 4.
That's not an excuse.
It was covered in the newspapers. You remember those things there in paper, and so on, and the local TV stations, all 4 of them, and whatever, and it was up till then they were covering it, but it wasn't the hype that you see now at all.
Yeah, it's like,
well, if you remember, it was just in New York City. It was like Radio City Music Hall, whatever it was, and normally you'd see them fanatic Jets fans, those crazy Giants fans, and maybe a Bills fan because it's in New York too, but they'd pick a guy, they'd show maybe a person or two that might be representing that team's colors, and they'd either go yay, 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 or they'd act like the franchise is now doomed, and then just move to the next. Well, I think it lasted like a couple hours on ESPN, then it was done. So I don't know who the brainchild was that decided to take this show on the road. Brilliant for money making. I mean, the place, the stage, it's like a
bucket list event for people, and then there's this even smaller subset that's like, we're going to do this every year kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm gonna fall into that second one. Next year's in Pittsburgh, and I've been to Pittsburgh before. That's got nothing to do with it. But the way that they have it set up, like the thing that I learned, the draft parts, but they have bands. They have all this other stuff. You can kick the field goal. You can throw something. You can win prizes, and it's a free event. I mean, I don't know if a lot of people know that. It doesn't cost you a dime to go to the thing. It's when you're there, you got to spend money.
Yeah.
So I mean, that part, it's just kind of is what it is. But it's going to be like a Joneses thing. Like, it's weird that we went from one legendary franchise like Green Bay. Now we'll go to Pittsburgh next year, and everybody's pretty much going to try to outdo, I believe, the prior host job that they did. And if you're looking for something, really, if you don't mind giant crowds and you just like being where the action is, it is fun. I mean, you meet people. I mean, you're talking. You could have a Vikings jersey. I keep wearing the Packer jersey, but people you're best friends in like 10, 15 minutes. You insult everybody for about 5 minutes. You get over it.
Friendly, manly insults.
Yeah. That's how you do it. We don't like you if we don't make fun of you.
I'd be worried being too close to any of those Raiders guys with the spikes and stuff.
Right.
Oh!
Well, the super fans.
The super fans.
Like, I don't know. That's another thing. When you get to the front, or you think you're towards the front, you have no idea like there's such an optical illusion when you have such a big, long crowd that just becomes a sea of people.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a VIP access thing. Maybe that's where you got to spend like $1,000 to get. You see them guys that are just the Viking guy
They're
that
going
looks
to
like
make for good TV.
Yeah, the Viking guy that looks like a Viking. The Raider guy that looks like he could probably, I don't know. Somebody pushes him into him. Could be involuntary manslaughter or whatever you want to call that.
Johnny, this sounds like this was like a pure fandom experience. Then, did after all of this, then did the draft, the sports part of it even matter to you at that point? I mean, I know you follow sports intently. I know that, but the spectacle of it, did it even matter who got picked at that point?
Not even close.
Yeah.
Like I think I looked at the guys a couple of times. Like, can't we do this tomorrow?
Yeah.
Like we can still try some of this tomorrow, right? We don't just have to. Did you
even pay attention much to the people that were coming off the board, or was it just the experience was mainly enveloping you?
You want me to honestly? Oh yeah. I mean, I was charting stuff down. I was keeping files. No, I didn't care. I'm not going to I didn't care. I mean, the cool thing that they did, though, as well, if you're a Badger player that got drafted to a pro team, if you were still in contact with that pro team, they'd have the Badger guy come out and announce with the 34th pick, the Los Angeles Chargers. That's where I get messed up because San Diego isn't. But so-and-so, that could have been by Monty Ball. Tim Crumry, I think it was Tim Crumry, offensive lineman, a long time ago. But yeah, all these former Badgers they brought back, and most of them, when they announced the names, the crowd, oh wow, I haven't heard that name in so long, and they kind of go crazy. And they did a good job of keeping it very Wisconsin. Like I don't know what Green Bay is with bikes, but I guess there's something to do with Goodell announced, or he came out on a bike when the Packers were supposed to pick.
Oh, I don't know if that's because that's the Packers are notorious. They all ride bikes. Kids bring bikes, and during training camp they ride bikes.
No kid.
Yeah, they ride bikes from like the locker room to the field or something, and kids bring bikes. It's like a tradition. So
okay,
that's what that's all about.
Well, we talked about this a tad bit before we got on, but it was the one time that Goodell didn't get booed. Any other time they announced that poor guy, it doesn't matter what fan you are of, you boo him, I guess. But when he got on the bike. Yeah. The fans loved that. Like, they ate that up like, oh, we hate you. Nice touch. We got it. Whoa. Yeah. But, I would definitely say that if you're proud of your Packers, proud of Wisconsin, and you love Green Bay, love them more because, I mean, you got all them people. I never saw anything even close to an altercation between fans.
Really?
Like, I mean... It was just a lot of people were there for the right reasons. We're going to have a good time, even though we don't really care about what's going on.
Well, you know why that is Wisconsinites are experienced drinkers.
Yes, sir.
I mean, they don't need to get rowdy. It's just everybody chill out.
Like I said,
man. Right?
Yeah. Actually, since you mentioned, that was the other thing. I already told you that you couldn't drink Miller products, but they had Blue Moons and Spotted Cows.
Yeah, there you go.
But if you ordered those, they poured them. Because they don't want that advertisement of people walking around with that. Ain't that something?
Spotted Cow in a Bud Light cup or what?
No, I didn't want to do that because them people, all they're doing is they're backing up the line. You get 4 of them things, you got to wait for the person to pour them. The line. I mean, you're sitting in line for some of these things half an hour. So no, I'll be easy. Now, what is the whole Busch Latte thing, anyways? What is going on there? Are they just trying to class their product up or something?
I think it's just a little bit of joking refinement to otherwise cheap and
they
mediocre
know.
beer. Yeah.
All right, because
it's PR, good PR.
I heard some people ordering them like that, and there's a part of me going, do they know that it's not?
It's kind of a Wisconsin thing.
Okay, because I was like, I don't know. Do they think it's really latte, or are you just drinking?
You see a lot of T-shirts in Wisconsin that actually say Busch Latte. Yeah.
But we'll have to see how the boys do next year. Aaron Rodgers still doesn't even have a home yet, I don't believe, correct?
He's still going to the Vikings. That's what I'm telling you. You heard it here.
What do they say in Star? He'll fulfill his destiny.
Fulfill his destiny. And subsequently, Minnesota will fulfill their standard destiny.
Well, you know what?
Super Bowl champions, Rick?
No.
Do you know who the Vikings drafted?
Well, that's the point.
Exactly.
Pedestrian. I know who they did, but it didn't generate any excitement.
Did it move the meter?
It was a guard.
Yeah.
You know? a guard. I mean, obviously it's an important position, but yeah, they cut away to Shedeur Sanders pretty quickly after they drafted him.
Yeah. So, do we want to talk about Shedeur at all? I mean, is that topic overdone now?
I mean, it was the only kind of.
I feel like the stuff that has come out after, you see even more like hearing about like behavior that he skipped out on things, and
we're going to take behavior out of it.
Okay.
All right, we're going to take it out. I'm going to ask all three of you gentlemen. I'm just going to give you some numbers here, and you tell me if this sounds like a guy who should have his number retired at the university that he went to.
I think I know where you're going with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
13 and 14 in 2 seasons. Decent amount of passing yards. Decent amount of.
But the record was 13 and 14.
Yep. And he was 9 and 4, and his first one was like 4 and 10, or 4 and 8,
4
something like that.
4 and 9,
either way.
Yeah.
Now, off the surface, he had one bowl game. I don't think they won that one either.
I don't know either.
But either way,
played BYU.
So 2 years, 2 seasons, a lot of hype, a lot of excitement, brought a lot of entertainment to that college. But here's my question to you. They retired his jersey number with those numbers. He was only at the college for 2 years. He set over 100 football records in Colorado.
Yeah.
Can you name more than 20 categories? Really? 100? It was
I mean, they've got so many stats.
Like,
now.
You're probably creating categories.
Right.
Yeah.
After 3 o'clock Pacific time, this guy, nobody's throwing more touchdowns when the wind is 15 degrees above.
Yeah.
But so they retired the guy's jersey, and one of the funniest memes that I saw on Facebook was when he wasn't getting drafted. It got to the point to where anybody that does know about this stuff was like, you know what, the worst that could happen to him now is if he does get drafted, I guess.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't, he's like a free agent. But since the Browns of all teams, I mean, this is God's script right here. Yeah. You do understand that, right? Only God's going to take legendary.
Here, we're going to put you on the Browns.
Yeah. God's going to take legendary and have it go to the Browns after the Browns even already drafted another guy before him. But the meme was, how embarrassing is it going to be to go back to Colorado and pick a new number since they already retired your old one? Because that was what people were saying. Maybe you should just go back to Colorado at this point. But, there's something to be said about the kid that did go number 1, the Cam Ward. A lot of people have complimented on the fact that he had a very humble, modest suit, small chain. The people that he had at the draft, his mom and dad. Yeah. Most important day. Those are the people I want to celebrate. He didn't have the girlfriend. He didn't have the entourage or anything like that. And he got emotional. Like, I don't know if you guys saw that. The poor kid was crying. And now what a lot of people might not know, have you seen the videos of Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders working out together?
No.
These exist. Look them up. They're constantly talking trash to each other.
Oh, really?
And it's hilarious. That Shedeur Sanders will do something, and Cam Ward's like, what are you doing? Dude, are you tired already? You need some water? How can you be tired already? You need some water? Well, here's Shedeur Sanders. Water? I don't drink water. I drink Gatorade because Gatorade pays me. And it's like that. There's those moments where you're going, I can kind of see where this one guy might rub people the wrong way.
Yeah.
Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders goes to throw the ball. He takes his hand, he just slaps the ball right out of the dude's hand. Picks it up, Shedeur Sanders starts whining. What are you doing that for? Man, Cam Ward says, I hope I play against you in the Super Bowl. That's why. You don't know what you're doing out here. You have no idea what you're doing. He's like, well, stop slapping the ball away from me. He goes, try to slap it from me. And Shedeur Sanders tries it, can't do it. Cam Ward, there's your lesson today. Ball security.
Yes.
I mean, and then you go on YouTube. They're pretty funny. I mean, that Cam Ward.
We do need somebody to replace the Mannings in the
the hierarchy.
The hierarchy of entertaining off the field quarterbacks. The personality. I love at the draft seeing the guys just the fulfillment of their life. They've worked so hard for this for so long. Just seeing the tears. I mean, I saw the one kid that's like, I'm ready to go out and die with these guys. I was like, okay, that's a little excessive. But yeah, to go out and you love that. As a parent now, you can kind of feel like what the parents would feel, and that to me is is just the cool thing about the draft is these kids fulfilling their lifelong dream that they have put decades into, and even then still just the hope, like we've seen guys like the 49ers quarterback who was the Mr. Irrelevant, who has actually made some success. You hear about, we knew prior to that, the story of Brady, low draft pick that makes their way on. A lot of these guys, that's the thing. And then that there still is just this chance of success and fulfilling the dream is great. And now, all right, Shedeur, go prove everybody wrong.
Well, you said first we'll put a wrap on this. We're going to get to know Tom here today. I'm looking forward to that. But you brought it up, too. When we talk about this being these kids' biggest days, they're preparing for it. The Vikings draft a guard. Every team needs a guard.
They need
but you want to talk about a person that's concentrated on one position for one sport, and that truly is his day. He's an offensive guard. How many other jobs is the 6'5", 6'6", 290 or 3? He's been preparing for this moment. And when have you ever seen an offensive lineman or even a defensive lineman for that point act like your skill position players when it comes to bravado? These guys, this is really their shot. They're
not going to get a lot of the endorsement ads and things like that. They would even be mocked by their fellow linemen if they did any of that. It's violation of the code if you act like that as a lineman.
And we say without the linemen, you don't got. You need them. They're actually great linemen can make a mediocre quarterback great.
Yep, absolutely. Make a mediocre running back.
Awesome, but. Them guys get drafted, and like Jacob said, hope he works out,
Yeah.
Keep eating those burgers.
Keep
eating those burgers,
keep working
man.
out, man.
We need you.
We need you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And
then the other part of it, too, is then if he gives up a sack during the year, right, everybody wants to crucify him.
Oh, what a bomb.
What a bomb.
Quarterback goes
should we wind down this wonderful sports talk with a blessing over our future Packers and Vikings?
Let's do it.
Lord God, we just ask that you, may the Lord bless them. May he keep them. May he make his face to shine upon him. Help these young men make wise decisions with the things that have just come into their lives. And even Shedeur Sanders, God, that he would learn from this and grow from it as a man and become an excellent role model and a success that if he doesn't know you, would come to know you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Be legendary.